but we are pretty curious about wine actually. But probably we don't drink as my grandfather did in the past, so having a bottle of wine during lunch and then during dinner. But yeah,
a bottle of wine during, and that's not now like blasphemous right now, right?
Open bar with Stevie.
It is Monday morning. We are back with Open Bar Stevie, and I'm here with this young gentleman with curly hair. What is your name, sir?
I'm Federico Orione.
Orione. And how old are you?
I'm 27.
27. And he is the owner of Bersano Winery. So tell us just in a couple of sentences, very quickly, where is Bersano and what is it?
Yeah, Bersano is one of the oldest winery in Piedmont. We are based in Nizza Monferrato since 1907, so kind of 120 years ago.
1907, that's kind of, yeah.
I wasn't there, of course. But yeah, 120 years ago. And it's, it's such important because it's based in Nizza Monferrato, so the heart of Barolo and Barbera area. And of course, we are mainly focused on red wines, and we want to bring elegance and connection all around the world through our wines that are made Piedmont 100%, made by our grape for 100%. So we harvest our grapes starting from the vineyards since the beginning. And we strongly believe in the power of the connection between vineyards and bottles. So that's our philosophy, 100% Piedmont.
So 100% Piemonte. So what kind of wines are you producing? Barbera, obviously, right?
We are producing 4 kinds of Barbera, starting from the stainless steel one to our Nizza Riserva, who stay 12 months in the oak. And then we are also producing Barolo. We have 4 different Barolo in our portfolio. And then, of course, we are looking some international variety, like, Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, but also staying in Piedmont, we have some Gavi, for example, and rare Arnaise, keeping on the white sides. And since 1984, we are producing kind of sparklings. They are called Arturo lines, due to our founder, which was Arturo Bersano. And so we are producing 3 sparkling wines made by Pinot Noir 100%.
Okay, so that's a lot of, how many labels in total?
We are kind of 22 labels in total.
Do you really need 23 labels, seriously? Doesn't it create confusion?
I mean, yeah. Probably yes, but if you look at the labels, yeah, there are 22 labels, but the variety are keeping, we are trying to focus on the main variety of Piedmont wines. They're basically most of Barolo, Barbera, and then some Pinot Noir for the bubbles, and of course we have range of the whites like, Chardonnay, Gavi, and Arnaise. So it's quite simple to understand the portfolio because it's Piedmont 100%. With the variety that gave value to our customers. So we are trying to reduce a bit maybe in the future.
You are officially Gen Z.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone says Gen Z is killing wine, that you guys are not drinking anymore. Is this from your viewpoint? Is that true or false?
But I think that nowadays we can choose more consciously of which wines we're gonna drink, and for sure we probably drink less, but better. My friends, thanks also to me, can choose good bottles on the wine list, and so yeah, that's a good point. But we are probably drinking less, but better. So we are choosing more consciously which kind of variety we want, trying to explore a bit. Also, having going around the world, maybe trying some wines also from Australia, from New Zealand, and from France. But we are pretty curious about wine actually. But probably we don't drink as my grandfather did in the past, so having a bottle of wine during lunch and then during dinner. But yeah, drinking less but better will be the solution.
So I feel like this is the new motto now. Even Felix said, drinking less but better.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But have you experienced this mostly in Piemonte or elsewhere?
But I think all around the world, the producers are trying to be more focused on the quality, but also on the perceived quality, so the packaging, the communication behind the wines, and not just the quality of the product itself, but you need to have a good story behind. So people need to talk about the wines, need to telling the story that is behind the wine. For example, in Bersano, we had an incredible story since 1907, because since the beginning, we bought the first estates in 1912. And our first estate was called the Cremosina Estate, which was, an estate in Nizza Monferrato, where everything started 100 years ago. And since this time, we always keep the strong connection between vineyards and so the soil, the structure of our territory, and then the bottles. And this means quality in the glass and in the bottle, but also means a storytelling behind the wines that nowadays is so important. And even with my friends, we always talk about the story behind the wines, behind the labels, and of course behind the producer that make the wines.
So Nizza Monferrato, for those who are less familiar, can you contextualize where Nizza Monferrato is?
So since 2014, the area called Langhe Monferrato is under UNESCO World Heritage, and it's based in the middle of Piedmont. Nizza Monferrato, it's in Monferrato area, which is south of Langhe area. So we are close to Alba, we are close to Barolo area, but we are in Monferrato area. So we are.
And how big is Nizza Monferrato?
Our Nizza is 12,000 people, so it's not that much big. It's kind of a village, but it's 1 hour far from Turin, 1 hour far from Milan, and then 1 hour far from mountains and 1 hour far from the seaside. So it's actually in the center of Piedmont, but it's not far from anywhere.
You know, what I remember most about your winery, Bersano, I mean, there are a lot of things. You know, it is a very interesting place. There's a museum.
Yeah.
But what I remember the most is that it's just in front of the train station.
Yeah, we are based in front of the station since the beginning. Just because, sometimes in the past, the costs were important, and also the people was easier for them to go to the winery and work with them. So we just we found the winery, and it's just in front of the station. And then we have a museum, which is the Fine Prince Museums and the Old Farm Tour Museums, that telling a story, the Piedmontese story of making wines, and then the Piedmontese culture. And in those museums, there is a locomotive train.
I remember that.
It's from 1898. Gifted to Bersano in 1970, just because Bersano was one of the first winery to commercialize the wine from North Italy to South Italy by train.
But who gifted you the train?
The public station gifted the train to Arturo Bersano.
Station.
Yeah, the train station gave to Arturo Bersano, just because Arturo was the pioneer of commercializing wine from North Italy to South by train, and so they recognized him, and they decided to give the train to us. And now you can touch it actually coming to our museums, and it's quite amazing just to have a train in the winery.
But Federico, what is your role at the winery exactly?
I'm the last joining the company, I can say that, but I'm the 5th generation. So sometimes they ask me, how long have you been in the winery?
Yes.
Right. With my grandfather, it's 27 years that I'm in the winery. So I always, following him through the vineyards and then through the cellar to trying to, catch and understand how the wine is made, and then how to promote and sell also the wines. And nowadays I'm taking care about the marketing parts at the winery, and then kind of sales. I try to help the sales people at the winery to, spread all around the world our vision and our mission.
Have you studied enology? Are you making wine?
I'm not making wine, actually. I studied business and management.
Okay, so you travel the world to promote your wine.
I travel the world, to promote the wine.
So when you're traveling, wine today competes with like cocktails, ready-to-drinks, and there's this sobriety culture, of course the wellness, especially with, with the Americans, if you will. So where is it losing the fight?
I think that wines, compared to others, it's kind of connective. It's something that makes connection between people, especially maybe during dinner. It's always, by my part, having a glass of wine, it's always, something that makes my heart hotter. So it's something that clearly make connection between people. and between friends and peoples. And for example, before we were talking about friends, and one thing that I'm used to do, it's bringing some wines and tasting blind with my friends, and the bottle that finish first is always the best one. So don't talk about wines that much. You need to have the story behind. You need to talk a little bit of the story, but then don't talk too much. Just drink it, enjoy the moment, and enjoy the feelings. That's something
the
experience. Yeah, it's wine. It's an experience, 100%, and you need to live it and you need to feel it. And wines, compared to other, it's something really experience because it's starting from a territory. It's starting from people. And if you produce wines in an area, it's totally different from another area, from another zone. And so that's, I think, is the best things about wines, because it's totally, up to you, and gave you the best emotion that you can experience at a dinner or a lunch.
There's this thing called dry January, right? Have you heard about that?
Yeah, not that much, but yeah, sometimes.
What do you think about this movement of dry January? Do you think it will ever take place, for example, in Italy? Because it's very American, if you will.
Yeah,
right?
it's probably more American than Italian. 'Cause Italian people have the wines in their blood, so they always drink wine. They always want to enjoy wines, and it's as I told you before, it's an experience that everyone wants to experience in itself, but maybe sometimes during the weekend and not all the days. So I think that dry January could be a movement, but I think it's more American than Italian movement.
So you have, before we close, there are 23 labels, okay, that you produce. Which wine is your favorite wine? And what's the story, the famous story behind it?
Story behind the wine. That's a good question. It's a really good question. I think I'm a Barbera 100% man, because I think that Barbera, it's a wine from breakfast to dinner, let me say. And in our portfolio, I would pick 100% our Cremosina, which is a single vineyard Barbera made by, choosing the grapes from our first estate that we bought in 1912. So there is a good story behind, but I will put the Cremosina. It's a Nizza. Nizza is a new DOCG born in 2014, but we produce it since the beginning. And so Barbera 100%, aging 12 months in the oak. We use the big oak from Slavonia, traditional, impose you to use the big oak. And so we are using that for 12 months and having a wine which is incredible elegance, but it's keep the freshness and the acidity inside, so the drinkability, and then the fruitiness part coming up, and it's so intricate as a wines.
But you say the story is very important, but I feel like you're just giving me technical tasting notes.
Yeah, it's just, for example, thinking about the story, the Cremosina is the first estate that Giuseppe Bersano, our founder, bought in 1912, and it's an estate based in the topest area of Nizza Monferrato. So from Cremosina you can see all around Nizza, and Napoleone Bonaparte, during the Marengo battle, was used to stay there at the Cremosina estates. And when Giuseppe Bersano bought the estates, he discovered some bottles left by Napoleon, which were probably some champagne with a strange, curious, shape of the bottle. He loved the shape of the bottle, and he decided to bottle his special reserve, his special wine, in those kind of shapes. And so it's, and the Cremosina, it's in this shape as a bottle.
But listen, Cremosina, for those of you who are less familiar in Italian, Cremosina means like creamy.
Yeah, it means like creamy, yeah.
Is it creamy? Is this Barbera creamy?
It's 100% creamy.
Okay, you see, for me, Cremosina is creamy. That's how I will remember it, and certainly.
Yeah, it's creamy.
Okay.
And it's
you didn't bring the Cremosina. This was supposed to be Open Bar Stevie, where we open a bottle, but every time people come, they don't even bring a bottle. I'm gonna have to change this, the rules of engagement of Open Bar Stevie. Okay, so thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Stevie, for hosting me.
27-year-old Federico, and his favorite wine is Creamy Cremosina. Signing off, my name's Stevie Kim, Open Bar Stevie. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, ciao ragazzi.
Thank you, bye.